Okay, so now let's put in some IK handles. What I'm going to do is make sure I'm in the animation menu. I'm going to come over to skeleton. I'm going to say IK handle tool, options, and I want to put in an IK RP because I want to have this as a rotator solver, so that's IK RP solver. If I click on the shoulder and then the wrist, it'll give me the controller that I want. So click once on the shoulder, ignore the elbow, click on the wrist, and you can see there's my IK handle. It's a little bit big, but we can actually make it smaller just by saying display, animation, IK handle size. So it actually appeared over here, there it is. If I just do a reset, there you go, it's pretty big. Actually, you can bring it down to 0.5. There we go. And let's put that up there. Actually, you can kill it. That's my IK handle. And to prove that it works, if I select it, move it, you can see that it moves the whole arm just by me driving the wrist. This is known as an inverse kinematics controller. If I wasn't to have this, if I was to try and move the arm by actually rotating the joints, that would be a forward kinematics methodology of animating, but I'm going to go with the IK, which is the inverse. So there's my first shoulder. Let's do the other arm. So, okay, last command again, which is Y on my keyboard. Click on the shoulder, click on the wrist. There's the IK handle for that arm. Can do the same for the leg because I need it to go from the hip to the ankle. So, last command, hip, leg. There you go. Last command again, hip, leg. Now you'll notice that my legs and my arms have got a slight bend in them, which means that when I select my IK handle, I get a flat triangular pyramid shape. That's actually what you want. You don't want to be putting in an IK handle with your joint positioned like that, which is straight. If you do that, you're going to end up with some really weird effects, i.e. the arm or the leg will bend in the wrong direction, which you don't want. Okay, so that's the IK handles for the legs and the arms, or at least the first part of the legs and the arms. Let's put in the second part now, which I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to do the legs just to show you the legs first. So what I want between the ankle, the ball, and the toe is a single IK handle. So I'm going to just say skeleton IK handle 2 tool options. And instead of an IK RP, I'm going to have IK SC. And I'm going to click once on this joint, which is the ankle, and terminate on the ball. So 1, 2, there you go. And do that again, 1, 2. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to set up a reverse foot controller, which is going to allow me to drive these bones a whole lot easier than me trying to do it with forward kinematics and reverse kinematics. So I need to get my reverse foot to work correctly. I need to have single IK handles between the ankle and the ball and the toe for both feet. Okay. For the fingers and thumbs, it's up to you if you want to do forward kinematics or single IK or which is the scale IK or the rotation IK. I'm going to go with the rotation. So again, I'm going to do IK handle tool options, switch that back to IK RP. I'm going to click once on the wrist, once on the finger. There you go. Do that again. Once on the once on the wrist, once on that finger. You see that one's a little bit longer. Okay, actually went through two joints there. You might have some trouble. Let's just test it. So if I select it, It's bending correctly. That one. See, yeah, it works. You could easily go through and do it the IKSC. I'm gonna stick with the IKRP for now. Let's see if I can do that again. There you go. So IKRP. I'm gonna have to. There we go. One. Whoops. It's still fighting me. Do that again. One. Two. And you can see I got one there. Okay. I'm gonna do the same for this hand. There we go. And last but not least, I'm going to do the center, which is the spine. And this one, I'm going to do skeleton, spine, and this, there's always a tongue tie. IK spline handle tool options. I'm going to leave it as default, except I'm just going to push that back up to 4 spans. And I'm going to click once on the pelvis and go as far as the bottom of the neck. There we go. And you can see that this one creates a nice IK handle in there, but unlike the IK handles for the arms, I can't select this one the same way. For me to click and drive this one, I need to create what we call a cluster node to drive the vertices of this IK handle. So before I do anything else, let's just do a save file. Save scene as. Call this one number 11. There we go. I'm happy with everything so far. Let's put in the cluster nodes to drive the spine. So to do that, I'm trying to hide anything I got there. So I'm going to hide my mesh. There we go. You can see the spline there. It's this little blue line. So let's try it. Might have to hide my bones as well. That's easily done. In fact, let's select the bones. If I do right click, select hierarchy, I can put the bones, I'm going to just call it bones on the bone select on the layer called bones. Let's hide that. There we go. There's the spline there. And what we need to do is going to right click in here. I'm going to right click and say control vertex. If you see it, those are the things that I can drag to move. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click. There you go, that's one. I got 2 there. I'm going to say, make sure I'm in the right one. There we go. I want to create a deformer and say I want to create a cluster. I'm going to just do options. And I want it to be create cluster. I'm going to just do, based off those 2 control vertices, do a create. And it creates a little character C if you can see it there. And if I move that, it drives those 2 vertices. Now, it can be a bit of a pain to actually click in that inside to pick up that little C. So what I usually do is just create a little controller for it. So if I just say, let's do a create node, or actually, let's make even this, just do curve, circle. I'm just going to create a little circle out here. Just go into freeze transformations, and I'm going to say delete non-deformer history on this one. And then if I click on the, so if I can zoom in on it, the little cluster, come on, there you go, the little cluster C, I hold down shift and select the circle and say P. The circle is now the parent of the little cluster. You can call this one, I don't know, let's say spine control 01. There we go. And if I switch back on my bones and switch back on my wrong one there, flight suit, there you go. Go back to my perspective view. Now if I grab this controller and just watch what happens to the spine when I move it. See? It now drives the spine. Okay? And you can do that for the rest. So if I again go back in fact let's create another controller, another circle controller. Let's just put it up here. Should make another one just in case. You never know, you might need it. Let's hide the bones. Select the spine and say control vertex. There's that one. And I'm going to say create cluster. Apply the C to that. And then I'm going to hold down shift and select this one and say parent. That drives that one. Let's do the same for this one. Control vertex. In fact, I can probably grab those two. Say create. Let's pick that up. Come on, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. There we go. Hold down shift and say that one and parent. And if I now switch back on the bones and the flight suit, you have this one driving the center, this one driving the upper part. And if you notice, I actually didn't freeze transformations on those, so I actually made a mistake. What I should do is go back. I'm just going to unparent those to freeze those numbers, and the reason we need to do that is because we don't want any numbers on our controllers before we start animating, otherwise it can add extraneous data to our animations that we bake out and then drop into a game engine. So what I'm going to do is let's just open up the outliner. So let's display, where are ya? There you go, outliner. Just gonna focus on that one. If I hold down shift and click on that little plus, you can see that it's got the cluster node there as a child. It's actually got the cluster node there. If I just do a shift P, just breaks the parent into that one. Select the next one, open it up, click on that one, shift P. I can go back to my two controllers there and say freeze transformations, delete non-deformer history, and now I can reparent them. And in fact, I can probably find them here. See, that's group 2. And actually might be a good idea to see if I can just do a shift P just to get rid of the grouping, because the grouping is the software give me a group control, and you see it's off center. I don't actually need those. I'm going to delete those. Still got my cluster nodes, which in fact still work. So if I say cluster node at number 2, hold down shift, select that one and say parent. There we go. Cluster number 3. So cluster number 3, hold down shift and say parent. And now I'm going to call this one clavicle. Oh, let's just call it spine control 03. Let's just keep it simple. That one's spine control 02. Spine control 02. There we go. So now I've got controllers for my spine. I actually haven't got any controllers apart from the IK handles, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create those with the NURBS tools just to give me some controllers that I can drive. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. So in the next part I will put on those controllers and then put some pull vectors in just to show you how to get a nice twist on the arms and the legs.